assimilation, and emission. Now, what does that mean?
Just want to ask if you could repeat what you just said about the light particles.
Okay. Besides doing the normal thing it ought to do, what phosphorus is there for is to attract the electromagnetic frequency of living nutrition. Unfortunately, chemicals and heavy metals have fooled it, and they are attracted through that phosphorus too. So this is why disease is going like this. If somehow the body or the phosphorus put a gate up and said, wait a minute, you can't come in, but it mimics, it appears obviously that these man-made elements. Now let me explain to you. Uranium is a perfect example. We call that radiation. Uranium works at 12 to 15 million times faster than the wings of a hummingbird. Let's get to this. What is the normal rhythm, the Mozart concerto, the heart, the tides? It's working at what? 5 million times faster than the hummingbird's wing. What we're saying is why you get cancer from radiation, uranium, because it's actually 2 to 3 times higher frequency than the rest of the universe. So what happens is that the phosphorus says, okay, you can come in because it's an intimidating frequency. You follow me? Just like if you're letting people into your house. You know, you may feel odd about somebody, but if they're all dressed up and look nice and say the right thing, you may feel odd, but you still let them in. And I'm sure that that's what's happening with the body. Do you follow? So this is where disorders come. We are vessels of light and particle assimilation and emission. So that means not only do we take it in, but we let it go. And we do that through energetics, we do it through consciousness, we do it through love. The most important way that we express our frequency is through love. And the most powerful of all emotions, the most powerful possession humans have is love, isn't it? Have you ever felt anything more wonderful, stronger, more beautiful? That love conquers everything. It really does. Now, we're not the smart ones first. We'd like to take all the credit, but the Asians knew this more than 2,000 years ago. The Asians didn't have the technology. They didn't sit up in PowerPoint presentations and dressed in suits, but they got it. They said, wait a minute. If I stick a needle here and I stick a needle here, it helps something here. And everyone said, nonsense. What do you mean? You got to stick it where it is. No. And how many of you have ever had acupuncture or understand the benefit or watched them? I'm walking because of acupuncture. I had a major, major injury. I crushed my leg. They said I'd never walk again. 2 months later, I was walking. Why? Because they took acupuncture, needles, stuck them in, put electromagnetic frequencies on it, and rebuilt my bone structure. Okay. Why? Because you are a vessel of light, particles. You are not biology. How many of you realize that 7 years from today, not one cell is going to be in this room that's here today? That means if I tested every cell in every one of your bodies, put them back in you, came back 7 years from today, not one cell is here. Your heart, 30 days. Human lung, 70 days. Parts of your brain, 2.5 days. Stomach lining, 5 days. Completely new. So you're, again, a moving what? Easy. You see how easy it is to understand this? Too complicated for the intellectuals. They don't get this. And by the way, the academic books have been written hundreds of years ago. They don't want to change them. But the Chinese knew this stuff. Those weird Chinese guys sticking needles in. Isolated phosphorus. Now here's where the punchline comes. How many of you ever walked along the beach here on a moonless night in San Diego? How many of you have noticed when you scrape your feet across the sand, sometimes little stars disappear? How many of you have seen that? That's phosphorus. That's phosphorus disappearing into the what? The universe. The electromagnetic connectivity, the web of life. Disney, we continue. You're actually physically, visibly seeing phosphorus go into the electromagnetic ether, as we call it. Now, when isolated from all other chemical compounds, your body has 2% what? And if it did not, would you be physical? The answer is no. So the mystics in Judeo-Christian theology, as an example, told you that we're souls and spirits. We as scientists are proving that this century. I'm proving it right now here to you, buddy. That we really are only connected to the physiology by 2% oxygen, which, by the way, is the first signs of life and the last signs of life. And this is the big punchline. Now, until science humbles itself and recognizes this, we're going to still maim you by cutting out tumors. We're going to still maim you by giving you radiation, chemotherapy, antibiotics, steroids, narcotic drugs, psychological drugs. We're going to maim you because that never helps you. That suppresses and destroys biological flow and prevents electromagnetic frequency to be normal within the cells. Phosphorus absorbs light and transmutes those light waves in slow time sequences. What does that mean? Transmutes means goes beyond. So again, phosphorus absorbs light, as we talked about. That's how we get nutrition into the cell. And transmutes, goes beyond those light waves in slow time sequences to different frequencies, thus creating the state of phosphorescence and phosphorescent. How many of you have ever seen people that glow? They're really charismatic. You say, wow, look at that person. Why? Did they eat some phosphorus pill? Their cells and their entire anatomy, which is cells, are now vibrating at the level close to what it should be vibrating. So you're attracted to them. Babies. We're all attracted to babies. You put a baby in the room with murderers, they're all going to melt and want to kiss the baby. Isn't that true? Why? Because the baby is what? The baby's free and vibrating close to. Okay. You and I, we've been whittled down. Can't do that. Can't do this. Go sit in the closet. Shut your mouth. The boogeyman. We're whittled down like this. You see how when you go step by step with this, what an abundant foundational logic and common sense there is. But nobody addresses common sense anymore. It's all abstract theologies, philosophies, and missteps. Second interesting thing that came, revelation I had, is that I kept thinking to myself, why do you have these magnetites in your cells? Every one of your 100 trillion cells have magnetites in them. Why would you have magnets in every one of your cells? Magnetites are magnetic particles contained in all cells that directly connect you to all other magnetic fields. So, how many of you have ever noticed, you walk into the room, you're attracted to somebody? What is that about? You've never talked to them. Because you would think psychologically it's their physical looks. It's not. People are going to say it's pheromones, that's chemical. In a way it is. But what you're really attracted to is the copaesthetic frequency. This works with you. Their frequency and your frequency works well together. I get near my wife still, 30-some years later. The hair in the back of my neck stands up. Her frequency and my frequency work beautifully. And you see this. There's some people in your life you feel so good about, so casual with, so comfortable, so secure with. And that's because you have a copaesthetic or unified frequency. Where other people, it's not you don't like them sometimes, it's every time you're around them you go like this. You ever notice it? That doesn't mean good or bad or right or wrong. It means compatibility of where you are at that particular moment. When I was young, I used to have likes and dislikes. I had very, 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 very few of those. The only thing I dislike, I dislike murder, I dislike rape, I dislike prejudice, but beyond that, there's not much I dislike or like. There's obvious things I dislike. Everyone should. And the more you start to become confident in yourself and understand everything is very simple, you start to realize, who are you to judge it? Just get over it. Because everything's going to happen with or without you. Get on board or shut up. That's it. Get on the bus and shut up. So magnetic fields are interesting. Isn't it interesting through evolution, through the process of reality, we have actually harbored in our bodies magnetic fields through evolution that connect us to the entirety of the universe. So if a star is exploding, you may not feel it, but you do. Now, the second way, the process of decomposition generates proteins, vitamins, minerals, electromagnetic frequencies, and bacteria that nourish plants as they grow, collecting more ionic energy from the total. So what we just talked about is your etheric body. How many of you understand what that means? Your energetic body, your soul body, as we call it. Now, that can sound mystical, but again, I've just, as a scientist, explained it in a scientific way. Nobody can fight me. I'll go to any university, anywhere, maybe a little bit different language. I wouldn't have to explain to them what it is. I'll have a debate and win that debate. Because I'm going to say, hey, if you don't believe in this, why are you giving MRIs to people and looking at them? Why are you giving CAT scans to people? Why are you giving ultrasounds? What is that all about? Well, I'm checking the biology. No. Here, let me show you the picture. You're checking the electromagnetic frequency. Oh, no, we're not. Oh, yes, you are. Look at the electromagnetic frequency. Now, let's take out the electromagnetic part of it and test them and see what you come back with. Do you follow how simple this is? This is like kiss ass real. No way to get around this stuff. Now the second way we get energy, you just talked about the etheric body, is a grounding energy from the earth itself. So as the sun hits not only you and the plants and all of that business, it's also hitting the earth, and the earth transmutes that, do you follow me, into a secondary energy that creates the physical body. Okay, now, the earth creates, Anne Wigmore was wonderful, the founder of hypocrisy. She was like simple, absolute, raw instinct. And she one time got frustrated with me when I was asking some, offbeat intellectual question. She just got pissed off. She says, "Don't you get it? If the soil has nourishment, the food has nourishment, you eat it, and you'll be nourished, and you'll be physically strong." That's how simple it is. And the second way we get energy is through the earth energy itself. Now we go back and show you this one. You have the sun. You have the photosynthesis. That's all you'll ever need to know about nutrition. But after that's done its job, it becomes compost. Aha!